Welcome to another edition of Vigorously with me, Valkline Hands. I have the lovely actress Ashley Dulaney in the building. I am so glad that you're here. This is the part where we can talk about cats. I just want you to know that because we can talk cats here. I think that's a good place to start.
I love my cats. I'm creepily obsessed with my cats. Like I literally have them on the back of my phone.
You do. You have a case. Oh my God.
I'm legitimate. This is Posey Parker. She's my girl. This is Bella Lugosi. And this is
Oh,
Fred Charles Chaplin, the first of his name. We
uh,
call him.
Charles Chaplin the first. Get it
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah. I mean, his full name until you're friends is appreciated because you don't know him like that. But you know, friends call him it.
Well, so okay, those are obviously actor names. Are those some of your favorite actors?
You know, it's so funny. Parker Posey is actually one of my favorite actresses, and weirdly, I was watching a movie, and I'm very big into the universe, and I looked at my
Hmm.
husband, and I was like, when the universe brings us our first, like, for some reason, I feel like her name is gonna be Posey Parker, and like, I was like, so when we meet the cat that fits that, we'll know she's ours, and literally, that's what happened. And Bella was a very weird thing because we had gotten Posey and I could not imagine loving something else. Like my heart was so full. And my husband was like, when we get another cat, like I really think I want to name the cat Bella. And I was like, oh, Twilight like ruined Bella for me.
Oh,
And I
yes.
was like, no way. And then I was like maybe a couple months later, I was like, you know what? If we ever get another cat, because Posey's completely white, I was like, it's gotta be black, so we have that like yin and yang, and like and John was like, okay, I love that. And then we went into, no joke, like our place where we get her groomed, and they had saved a group, like a litter of kittens, and there was one kitten left. And I'm not fucking with you. See, there it is. I'm
There
not
it is.
fucking. It was one black cat named Bella Lugosi had already.
Period.
I am not messing. Like it was
Period.
insane. And I was like, I looked at my husband. He goes, no. And I was like, you don't turn
Yes.
down a gift from the universe. You do not deny it. And then we got him. And then Uni was a foster fail, but literally we told the universe when we were supposed to start thinking about maybe starting for children, which we haven't started yet, but we were like, when that time is coming, like bring us an animal that is a mix of Posey and Bella. And he's literally a
Oh,
combination of the two. Yeah, it's very
wow.
weird. So I am very universe driven, and I don't turn down signs, but
Th-
that is,
th- that's incredible. These are signs. I would pay
I
attention
know.
too. Oh my
I
goodness.
know.
I had a weird experience too with my cat that I have now because I mean the one that I had before her passed away after only like we only had him for 4 months. He had just congestive heart failure. We had no idea.
Oh
It
my
just out of the blue. The vet told us that this was going to happen to him during his life at some point. Um,
God. Oh,
I don't
that's
know.
horrible.
It was, but in a weird little way, it was kind of odd how we found our girl that we have now, Pantera, because they were both long-haired. Yeah, for the metal band. We're both my husband and I are both metalheads, so we were going with Pantera because she meowed along to the walk riff. Like she literally would do it.
Perfect.
And
Perfect.
so we were like, there's the name. But no, we found her like a day or two after we lost the our cat before. His name was Gato. And I was like, wow, that is really creepy. They look alike. They kind of sound alike, except she's a female, he was a male, and it happened to be a friend of the family was got developed an allergy to her and just could not care
She
for
was
her the
meant to
way that
be
she should be.
yours.
She
Yeah.
really was. It was like all within the same week. And I was like, well, guess you're coming back to live with us. Bye.
I'm a big believer in that. I think animals choose us, and sometimes they have to use
Yes.
creative ways to get to us. And I also think my girlfriend lost a very beloved animal, and I think animals send others to watch out. Like I'm a very big believer in that, and like guides and stuff. So I think yours was just a guide sent to you, and so you're meant to have her.
Possibly. And then yet I'm the one who wants her, but she's obsessed with my husband. She will.
Always,
Oh, how does that
always.
happen?
Oh my, Posey, I wanted her I literally manifested her. All she cares about is John. It's like,
Why?
I was gonna say John's dick, but like it's weirder if I say that. But like all she cares, she will only sit in John's lap. She tolerates me at best, but I like unconditionally I would give my life for her. And I know that sounds very insane, but I absolutely would. I would kill for my cats. And she could take or leave me. Like if I died in the house, she would eat me. But John,
It,
you know?
She, she would leave him alone. I don't get. I'm like, ma'am, I am the one that allows you to live rent free in this
Yeah,
apartment. I am the one that
me.
brought you here. Come correct. Let's show some respect. She won't do it. She wants to
Want
cuddle
it
up
too
with
much.
him.
Yeah.
She sleeps with him at night, next to
See?
him, up in that
Yeah.
little armpit nook
Oh
area.
my
That's like
God.
her favorite place to be. She
It's
wants to
really
be near
great.
him.
It's
I
so
know.
cute. It's so
It's
like
cute. And
it's
then I get a little
never
salty.
no, you know what? I thought I would get salty, but honestly, every time I see Posey in John's lap, I nearly cry because it just makes me I'm such a loser. I'm just like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. Like I'm the one that's just like, it's fine, you don't have to love me. Um, it's fine. And so like Posey is his girl, so I love it. It
Aw.
worked out perfectly. So I
I've
get it.
always wondered if there's something to like the opposite gender thing when it comes to cats, because
Maybe
the male cats that I've had sort of latched onto me, and the female ones that I've had would latch onto him. And I'm
see,
like,
yeah, same.
somebody needs to Jane Good all that and
I'm
figure it
telling you,
out.
I don't know, because Bella is very attached to me, like cannot stand my husband, but like Uni loves us both, is like really
Mm.
possessive of both of us. And that's why I was like, I'm telling you, he is meant for a child. Like he's meant for the baby, not me. So or him. So yeah.
I love it. You mentioned that your algorithm is definitely mostly cats, and what follows naturally is Taylor Swift, because
Yeah.
period, she's living her best life right now. Eras Tour is huge. How are we feeling about Tortured Poets Department? Your
You know,
thoughts?
I will not lie to you. I love the Tortured Poets Department. I've seen the Eras Tour 3 times.
Ooh,
I'm not even joking. I My husband is outstanding, but we had to see it this third time because she released the Tortured Poets Department. I was like, it's like a whole new
yeah.
show. I haven't even seen it. So where we went on vacation this year was Italy, and he actually planned our trip and surprised me, husband of the year. He surprised me by being like, you've still never gotten to go to the pit.
Oh,
Let's do Italy and we'll end on the Eras tour. Like, so he picked the vacation where she was
wow.
touring. And I swear to God, yeah. And it was so good. I think it's the greatest album she's ever written,
I
honestly.
know. What was each show great every time? Were there differences like you were expecting?
So the first show I didn't get to see the whole way through. Long story short, won't go into that. But didn't get to see it all, so I felt like I was missing it. And then the second show, we went with one of my dearest friends, and it was in LA, and it was epic. It was like, oh my God. So like seeing it completely was insane, and then to see it the third time with the torture postcard, I don't know how she's real. I don't know
I
how
know.
she's doing it. Like
Me either.
I was dying. I was like dipping down, having to like check on my ankles like during the pit. I was concerned for my health, and she does it every night, and I'm just in awe. It was so good. So good.
Stamina. Like I've watched her workout videos, and I'm like, you gotta be
Yeah,
stamina. The work that goes in. People forget that
dedication.
about entertainers. They
Yeah.
really do. Any entertainer, honestly, the work that goes into not just protecting that image and maintaining the image, but also being able to deliver when it comes to like stamina and ability
Yeah.
to actually physically do it. People forget that. I mean, have you encountered that as an actress?
For my personal
Hmm.
stamina or people in general, yes. I think people forget, especially when you're filming, and this is something they never teach you, right? There's a lot of downtime. Like, unless
Mm,
you are in every single scene, there's so much downtime, and you have to really protect your peace and really stay in the zone because you're switching from scene to scene. You might go from the start of the movie to the end of the movie. You have to be able to get your mind there and honestly not really need a lot of time because no one has time to wait on you, so like you have to stay very focused. And I've met a lot of people who when they're first starting out, they're like, one of the hardest things is being in a trailer and you're isolated, so your brain
mm.
almost shuts out, and so you're just like sitting there, and then when it's time to go you're like tired. And so I you have to keep your brain super active as if you are still working. So yes, very big.
How
Very
how do you do that on set? Do you maybe puzzles or run a jog?
I jog. No, no, no. God, no.
We don't do
No, no,
that.
no. I think it's really important. Like, I will be listening to an audiobook, which
Mm,
will keep my brain on, but not necessarily. And then I will always run my sides. I always ask for like a countdown so I can prep the scene for maybe 10 minutes before we're about to go on. But I am always listening to an audiobook or I'm always listening to music, something to keep me active versus getting tired. And it's probably
mm.
normally Taylor Swift. Like, honestly, that is probably what's always playing, but it keeps your brain alive and awake and doesn't let you relax, especially after lunch. So,
Oh yeah, that's always when I'm sleepiest too. I don't know what it is about that afternoon slump.
Because
It
it's
just
great.
hits. It
I want that
is.
nap. Yeah. Listen, when I'm at home, I live for it. I call my cats to the bed. I love afternoon naps. So it's
Just
I have to stay in the zone at work.
just Ace Ventura. Come to me, jungle
Come
friends.
to me,
Let's go.
literally, I scream out, I need you. And my two cats will come. Posey doesn't, but Bella and Uni will come. But
Aw, that's adorable. Well, how did the acting bug bite you originally? What made you want to get into acting?
it's so funny because I've just, ever since I was a kid, my grandmother recently told me, because I asked that question to my parents, because I've just never not known I was going to act. That sounds,
Mm,
I'm from Tupelo, Mississippi. It's like, it's not really something you grow up and you're like, yeah, I'm going to do that. My dad remembers when I was like 5 looking at him and I was like, I'm going to be an actor. I'm never like I'm leaving. And he was like, all right, okay. But you know what was crazy is my parents never stood in my way. They were always like, all we ask is you go to college because and you can study theater, which is what I did. They were like, we don't care what you study as long as you give yourself the time to be safe when you leave home. Like as
mm.
long as you've given yourself those years, and I'm so grateful because honestly, had I moved out when I wanted to at 18 and been like, I'm gone, make me a star. No, I would not be an actor now. I would
Oh,
have
okay.
for sure. Like I needed that time. So there is no moment in my life where I'm like, that was the moment it clicked for me. I've just always been a performer and always knew I would do it. That is so strange to say. And just for never, apparently from the time I could talk, I was like,
I, there's something to that, whether it's a parent encouraging your strengths and that kind of gives you those initial clues as a kid, or whether like somebody else might compliment you on something and you get a clue that way, or
yeah,
sometimes you really do just know. I mean, I started to make little broadcast VHS tapes when I was little, and my brother and I would pretend to do like the news and the weather, but I didn't know that like years later that was going to turn into, well, I want to try my hand at radio.
that
And
is so cool.
eventually podcasting. But who knew?
I love that. No, see, I think it's all like puzzle pieces and not to bring it back around to Taylor Swift, but it's all like invisible strings that like are really tying you to this thing. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
crazy when you look back and try to put all the puzzle pieces together.
When
I
you
love
know, you know. So
it.
the latest thing that you've done, Sister Wife Murder,
Mhm.
it's based on a true story. Fill us in on this one. This is because this is juicy when I read the synopsis here.
It is. It's so interesting. I actually can't go into a lot of details about it. All I can say is it is based on a true crime
Okay.
and we'll have to watch. And there's a lot of Easter eggs, I would say, that like if you watch,
Okay.
you'll figure it out. But yeah,
Okay.
when I got told about the real story on set, I my mouth was open and dropped. And obviously we've changed a few things but yeah.
Okay. Put on our Swifty hats,
Yeah,
investigate
I was
those
like,
Easter
if you're a
eggs.
Swiftie, get in there. Get in
It,
there, puzzle piece it, tell me what you think.
why are Swifties not hired as private eyes or
Yeah,
FBI agents? Can we
yeah.
get just a running list like on call? Because that would work.
I'm serious. I think the FBI doesn't have anything on Swifties. Do you know what I mean? Like they don't have like I mean aside from figuring out when reputation's coming, we are doing great. Now
I
that one
know.
we are continuously wearing clown noses and just going, I don't know. Like
But
I don't know. I don't know. But
we'll be
everything else
ready when it's here.
got. We'll be ready. It's like gosh, it's so great to watch. I live for the videos. I live for
Yes.
everybody.
I know.
Theory.
Specifically the Look What You Made Me Do video. That one, probably my favorite of hers, period, of all time.
Gosh,
Period, period,
Reputation
period.
was it was the first show I ever saw, and just a queen. Good for her.
Hmm.
Good for her is all I
It was
ever.
about time.
Oh
That
my
was
God.
about time. Like I was like, yes, please speak on it. Please share your side of these cringe tabloid stories. We
Yeah.
want to know. And I was like, thank you, Taylor, for providing us some context or at least a little bit of a clue into what your version of what went down is. We were all
Mhm.
wondering. We were all wondering what went down with Kim. We were all wondering what went down with Katy Perry. And
Yeah.
now we have some clues, not definite confirmation, but some clues. And it's like just enough, but
Always.
not too much.
Yeah, she's weaving a web, and we're all just and sex stuck in it. That's what I think of it. I'm just like, bring it on. I love it. I think her way of storytelling is so cool. I lyrically,
Hmm.
I mean, I could go on and on about just Taylor Swift. I've never opened this can of it's just sad. I like am obsessed. And so it's like anytime someone mentions her, I'm like, here we go. Now I'm never gonna talk about anything else. They're gonna try to
It's,
find my just Taylor
it's,
Swift.
it's okay. We welcome Swifty talk. But I am curious about Margot and the role that you have in Sister Wife Murder as well. What attracted you to the script? What attracted you to the role? How much of it ahead of time did you get a heads up on?
Yeah. So my first audition, I was not given the script. I don't know if you've seen the movie, but my audition scene was a very pivotal moment in the movie with Dia, who, and it broke me for personal reasons. I had to
Uh,
use kind of my own puzzle pieces to figure out what was happening in the story. Obviously, I had the breakdown, I kind of knew the synopsis, but I was not given the script until callbacks. I have a family member who suffered from domestic violence, and so
there it
it,
is. That one. Okay, I know what you're talking about now. That one.
yeah, and it really hit me in a. I wanted to play Margot so badly for that purpose. I wanted to
Mm,
have a chance to find what it is about when people are in that situation, and even be able to glimmer because of this person I love so much, feel maybe a fraction of what they could have felt. And so that was what was so important to me and why I wanted to do it and drew me to it.
yeah. Does playing Margot teach you maybe a little bit more about polygamy or the culture behind it? Did that kind of school you anyway?
It's so interesting because everyone asks that, and it's going to sound so bizarre because one of the points of the movie that everyone's going, three, three wives, like,
Yeah,
and
right.
three wives, and for me, my love was Dia's character really more than anything. I felt like I fell in love with her as a person, and I feel like Margot was attached to her. I feel like everyone gets very held up on the three wives aspect and the religious ties to that. And for me, it was just not about that in the
Mm,
story that was being told. It was about manipulation, and it was about how when someone is in that mindset and that space, how you can control them. And they're, you know what I mean? That was to me what the story was. It was less about polygamy, and obviously that's part of it. We didn't like, we were very aware of the culture. We were trying to, like, our director was incredible with research and
mm.
educating all of us. And so he really did the brunt of that for at least me. I felt like he came to the table and educated me in such a big way when I was playing her, but it wasn't the main part for me.
Okay, makes sense. So maybe you learned how to spot a toxic piece of male cringe
Yes,
instead.
that was more for me. And I know that sounds so strange because you're like, girl, part of the movie. And it's not that I wasn't aware of it. It's more the relationships mattered in a deeper way. Like I felt like Margot's relationship to Dia, and I know I always just call Dia her real name, but like it's just all I can do. But Chloe, Margot and Chloe, but like I feel like that was more of the point, and getting out of a bad situation for her child and
Mm.
that kind of thing
Yeah,
versus
and have some sympathy and empathy for the situation because most people, if they have no frame of reference or if they definitely don't have any personal connection to that type of scenario, they go, why don't they leave? It's not always easy to leave
you know,
for a
um,
number of reasons.
it's not easy for people to get out of a bad situation, and I think it it's a conversation that should happen for more. And I would, people have asked me that actually. People have slid into my DMs being like, why wouldn't Margot, like, why wouldn't they just leave? Why did they even get? And I'm like,
Oh my
oh,
lord.
complicated to respond. I've actually sent random people I don't know voice memos being like, it's very complicated. And finally everybody was like, stop doing that. And I was like, no, I want to like I'll talk. I'll tell you. It's very complicated. But yeah, when you don't have exposure to the situation, it's so easy to say, why would you even get into it? Why don't you just leave? And it's
Mhm.
just hard.
Number of reasons, financial ones, emotional ones,
Yeah.
sometimes, I mean, literal brainwashing. I mean,
I mean, it's
in
like
some
I
cases
mean,
too.
there's definitely like a cult aspect to this story and the
Hmm.
way it controlled the women and
Right.
manipulated situations. And so, yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's all very interesting. And we hear a lot about diva behavior in the industry, but everything that you've just shared about Chloe
Oh,
obviously
yeah.
dispels that for me right away. But I wanted to just ask overall, how has your experience in the industry as an actress been? Do you find that diva behavior exists, doesn't exist, not as prevalent, is prevalent? What do you think?
Oh gosh. You know, I think I would be naive to say it doesn't exist.
Mm.
I would also counter that with I have been incredibly lucky and I have only experienced the best. I came onto the scene working with Joan Rivers. That was my first job I ever did. And she was like the most outstanding person to just know for such a limited amount of time and such an icon. And
And to learn from.
yeah, I mean, that was my first day on set. That was my first thing I'd ever done. And like, so to watch her work, and she was so kind to me. She like actually invited me to be in the, like, I got to come to Fashion Police. I got to be with her. Like, she was, so when people ask that question, they say divas, like, obviously, of course, that exists with everyone. I have personally never come in contact with it. My first TV thing was with Kerry Washington on Scandal and a queen. So I have only
Wow.
in my entire resume, I feel so lucky because I have never encountered that. I have only encountered lovely, wonderful people who love what they do and are wonderful to work with and for.
Yeah, I have to ask if like we're just buying into tabloid stuff and clickbait article stuff
No,
when that type
I
of
mean,
situation comes up. Because I mean, in life, the acting industry, entertainment industry, it's not really the core of it isn't much different than any other industry in the fact that there are business relationships at hand, there are personal relationships at hand, and all of those are going to have ups and downs. Like anything else in the world, there's going to be somebody you get along with better and somebody you don't get along with at all. Of course, it's going to happen in entertainment, but it would happen anywhere else too.
it
So,
does happen anywhere else. Yeah,
why?
and
Yeah.
finding empathy for people that are quote unquote divas is really important because you have no idea what someone is going through. You have no idea what's happening behind the scenes. So I just me personally approach everybody like that. So I've never had a bad experience with someone. I mean, who knows what'll happen in the future, but like for me, I mean, like I've had an incredible, knock on wood, I've had an incredible track record of just wonderful, wonderful people. So I, part of that's maybe you see the best in people, and part of that is just people are good, and I haven't run into the bad ones. Maybe
Lead with
one.
that first until they tell
Yeah,
you otherwise or show you otherwise.
yeah, yeah.
So what's next for you? What can we look forward to coming from you?
Yeah, I just left Atlanta. I was doing a movie in Atlanta. I just met with a, a team. I'm really excited. I met yesterday for a movie. We're waiting to see if it'll shoot this year or January. We're waiting to see the other people getting attached. Very excited. I can't say anything, but I
It's
when I
okay.
can, I will email you. I'm so excited, and I was blessed enough to get to be part of the NCIS Origins. I can say like it's now up, the pilot, and oh my gosh, that cast like an awesome. Just to even be on such, it's going to be a legend, and it's just been a wild month of my life. So
Yeah,
just
the list of icons you've worked with is just like endless. It sounds like. How do you keep calm when you're facing these people? Because I'm sure you've looked up to them too.
yeah, for sure. Of course, you know, I didn't on Scandal. I actually Carrie Washington, beautiful, gorgeous Carrie Washington came up to me and she was like, "I know it's your first TV, and I just gotta say how great you did." And shook my hand. And I was like, "She's like,
Oh,
it's so nice to meet you." And I literally was like, "I love you." And this
yes.
is hand to God true story. I was like, "I love you," and I heard you like mermaids. I like mermaids too. And she was like, I do. And I was like, I've always heard you're so nice. I've heard you're so nice. And I just want you to know you just ran this set so well. And I just like admire you. And she was like, thank you, Ashley. Thank you. And I was like, I'm sure she was like, get this crazy girl over me. But
Yeah.
she was so nice. And so I'm not. I am such a like when I met Joan Rivers, I was like, I just need to tell you, Queen.
Hmm.
I mean,
Obviously.
if I met Taylor Swift, I would bow. I would drop to my knees and I would bow. So I don't think you're ever cool. I think when you're working, it's very different and you have to be professional. But like I had rapped on Scandal and I have no regrets about telling her that I heard she likes mermaids and I heard she's a wonderful person. And she probably doesn't remember me, but gosh, I remember her. And I think you should be human. I think like it's one, as long as you do your job and as long as you deliver and you show up and you are professional. I mean, I'm sure it makes somebody feel so great to hear you admire them and love them. So,
Yeah. Is that the
hello.
secret to building good relationships on set? Just maybe being a little bit vulnerable and an
Sure.
exchange. Yeah.
I think the best thing you can do on set that I have learned is know your lines. You'd be surprised.
Come
And
prepared.
know your lines. Don't waste that opportunity. Be a human. And kindness, you don't have to be fake. You can just genuinely be a human and be kind
Mm.
and be and I feel like people, it's so interesting because I don't understand. I've heard a lot of people say like they get very quiet and you can be quiet and be kind. Like you don't, there is no rhyme or
Yeah.
reason. Just be a human and be good and it finds you, you know? Just
Words to
don't
live
suck.
by.
Don't suck. That's
Don't
really
suck.
it.
Don't suck. Don't be a dick. Pretty simple.
Yeah, don't be a dick. And also be so appreciative. You know, like so many people got submitted for that role. I every time I'm on set, I'm like, thousands of people got submitted, maybe 20 got to audition. And I get
Mm.
like you when you appreciate that moment, I think you carry gratitude with you in a genuine way.
Yeah, I don't know that there's a better note to leave this on. Thank you for those nuggets of wisdom. Really, I don't know that we're going to do better than that. Thank you for that. And I can't wait to see what's next. Congratulations on the movie. Thank you for spending some time with me.
Thank you. It's nice to meet you.